life often gets harder before it gets easier. You start going to the gym and you're like, I can't lift that. But then you do, and now it's easier for you. You're trying to walk up the steps and you're like, whew, whew, I can't do it, I'm getting tired. But eventually, you do the hard work of going to the gym, and now you're running up and down the steps. You're outside playing football with your kids. It's hard to start studying, but once you do, eventually you become smarter and now you improve your grades. It might be hard to start that business, but once you do and you start working on it and you start putting the time in, things get easier. And it's not just that they get easier, but you become stronger, whether that's mentally, whether it's physically, whether it's your conversation skills, whatever it is for you. Life gets harder before it gets easier, because to go from level 1 to level 2, you have to do what's necessary. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. This isn't to say that you be afraid. It's not to say that, oh, you got to just grind and hustle. No, this isn't that kind of message. What this is understanding that when you set those goals, when you set those New Year's resolutions, for example, when you set that idea of, I'm going to start going to the gym, I'm going to start studying, I'm going to act that guy or that girl out, I'm going to do these things, you have to understand that it's going to be a challenge at first. But when you get through the challenge, you get the reward. The reason why athletes get trophies is because they did all the practice, they did all the work, they got on the field, they got the touchdown, they made it from across one line to the other line, they struck the baseball out of the park, they dunked, they did all these things, and after the hard part, they get the celebration. In life, we often want the celebration. We want the reward. We want the trophy. But when it's time for us to get out that bed and go to the gym, snooze. When it's time for us to study, I'm going to go scroll on TikTok. When it's time for us to do the hard thing, we're like, nah, I'm going to just go do the easy thing instead. And the irony is that if you always do the easier thing, life gets harder. But when you're willing to do the hard thing, life gets easier. It sounds strange, but this is how it works. The hard thing would be going to the gym instead of laying on the couch. And because you did the hard thing, eventually you have the easier thing of a healthy body. You're able to play with your kids when you're 50 years old. You're able to, walk around and do stuff when you're 75. Whereas the easy thing is I'm just gonna lay on the couch all day, eat the hot Cheetos, and not take care of my body. And then when you're 45 years old, you have a heart attack because you did the easy thing and you ended up with a hard problem. Whereas if you did the hard thing, you would have had an easier life. And we have to learn how to find enjoyment in the hard things. We have to learn how to feel a sense of, man, I'm about to go up in this gym. I'm about to get to it. I'm about to study. I'm about to get smarter. I'm going to get a straight A on my test. We have to find enjoyment in the work. And when you can learn how to enjoy the doing, it doesn't feel so hard. Like sometimes when I make these YouTube videos, I feel a bit of like, man, I don't want to stutter. What if I start overthinking it? But then I remind myself that the hard thing of making the video leads to an easier life of being a public speaker, being an author, getting to mentor people, traveling the country, doing all these great things. And I was willing to do the hard things of making my videos outside, making them on my phone, doing things that were outside my comfort zone, making TikToks walking down the street. I was willing to do the hard thing, and with time, it got easier. But Lawrence, everybody says that. Everybody says that it'll get easier. Everybody says that you just gotta keep going. Everybody says that, but how do I keep going when all of these fears and these worries and these insecurities pop up? Because when you first start going to the gym, it's not just, this weight is heavy. It's not just, oh, I don't feel like it. No, you start thinking, well, what if people start making fun of me and they start judging me? And, when I was a kid, people bullied me and they pointed fingers at me and said, you're so fat and you're so skinny. You start thinking that kind of stuff. So, Lawrence, when I'm going through that, what am I supposed to do? Like, when it feels like the fear, the worry, the pressure, the nervousness, when it feels like it's too much, what am I supposed to do? You take a deep breath and you say to yourself, it will get better. This too shall pass. When? I don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know when it will pass. But it will. If it's storming outside, it will eventually become sunny. Eventually, the problem that is really hard right now will become easier. When I first started making videos, it was really hard for me to get behind the camera and start talking and say something that made sense. I was stuttering, my thoughts were all over the place, I was scattered, it was a lot. But I just said, all right, it might suck right now. It might be hard right now. But with time, I will get better. When? With time. I don't know when. But I know if I just keep doing it, sooner or later, it will get easier. When I first started going to the gym, I was like really skinny. I couldn't lift the weights. It was a lot. I kind of sucked. But I did a couple of push-ups and I got tired. Then I did a couple of more. And day by day, by day, by day, I got a little better, a little better, a little better. And now I could go to the gym and do an hour-long workout and I'm good. I'm fine. But at first, I could only do like 20 minutes. I could only lift the 5-pound weights, but then I got up to the 20s and then the 30s and so on and so on. At first, it's going to be hard. But when you're willing to do the hard thing, life gets easier. But if you spend your entire life doing the easy thing, life gets harder. An easy life creates problems down the line. But a hard life creates easier life down the line. Obviously, that's not to say that you have to go through some super hard, difficult, traumatic thing. No, it's to say something like going to the gym or studying or reading a book or asking somebody out. You might be like, what if they make fun of me? What if they reject me? What if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? But on the other side of all those, what if it goes wrong, is what if it goes right? What if you two end up getting married, for example? What if you two end up having a beautiful family one day? What if you two go to prom? Or what if you apply to that job and you do get hired? What if you do get into that college? What if you do start that business and it succeeds? What if your music career does take off? What if that idea you have turns into multi-generational wealth? What if you become the person that changes your entire family bloodline? What if that? We spend so much of our life focused on the what if it goes wrong. It's going to be hard. I don't know what I'm doing. People are going to judge me. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing at first either. But you figure it out. How? One thing at a time. When I first started making these YouTube videos, all I knew how to do was hit the little red button and hit post. I didn't know how to make a thumbnail. I didn't know how to do anything, really. But I started to figure it out. At first, my thumbnails were just like a picture of my face, and it might be some little words in the background. That was it. That's what I was cooking. And I thought I was doing something. But with time, I started learning. I said, okay, let me go on YouTube and search up how to make a thumbnail on Canva. And then I figured that out. How to title a YouTube video. How to make a description. How to, whatever I had to do. How to become a better public speaker, for example. What camera should I buy so that my videos look better? You don't need to have all the details figured out at first. All you need to do is say, I'm going to start. I'm going to try. And I'm going to commit to this. When it gets hard, I'm going to commit to this. When I feel like giving up, I'm going to commit to this. When I'm tired, I'm going to commit to this. When I don't feel like it, I'm going to commit to it. Because if you can do it when you don't feel like it, then the times when you do feel like it will be so much easier. If you can go to the gym on the days when you don't feel like it, then on the days when you do feel like it, you're going to be in there doing extra stuff. You're going to be in there like You're going to put extra weight on the bar. You're going to do extra reps. And when you're willing to do the extra work, you can get extra results. You know, and you got to be patient with it too. A problem that a lot of people, including myself in the past, had is we want it now. I want it now. I want it fast. I want it easy. I don't want to do any work for it. I want it now. Okay, yeah, you could go get some microwave noodles right here, right now. Boom, done. But do you want microwave noodles? Or do you want to have lobster, steak, oxtails, and a 5-course meal? A 5-course meal takes some time. You can't rush that. You can't just throw that in the microwave. No, you gotta season it and marinate the chicken and do all these things. You gotta cook it a certain way, and you gotta be willing to do what it takes. Hopefully you guys don't hear that. They're ringing a church bell right now. But you have to be willing to do what it takes. For however long it takes, it might be hard. It will be hard. But when you can do the hard thing, eventually the hard thing becomes the easy thing. And you can level it up a bit. At first, doing 5 push-ups, that might be really hard for you. But there will come a day when 5 is really easy. So now you go from 5 to 10. And then once 10 is easy, you go from 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20, 25, 30, and so on and so on. Studying for 10 minutes might be super hard for you. My attention span is fried. Doom scrolling on TikTok done fried my brain. So you study for 10 minutes, and then eventually you get up to 15, and then 20, and then 25, and so on and so on. Moral of the story, if you are willing to do the hard thing, it will eventually become easy. And when you set a goal, life will be harder before it becomes easier. And if you stick with it, the hard thing becomes the easy thing, and you get a fun life. Trying to do the easiest, most fast thing leads to a hard life. But when you're willing to do the thing that might be uncomfortable right now, it might be hard right now, it might be outside your comfort zone right now, eventually your comfort zone gets bigger, 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 and eventually you get to have an incredible life. But it starts with that first decision. It starts with being willing to get out there. It starts with being willing to stay out there when it gets hard. It starts with you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to purchase my books, get a one-on-one mentorship call, or book me for your school or organization, you can find all those links below. Have a good one.